We're looking here now at live pictures from Peabody, where first responders are paying tribute right now to Trooper Kevin Trainor. I'm Courtney Cole.
And I'm David Wade. Trooper Trainor was killed last week stopping a wrong-way driver on Route 1 in Linfield. His wake is getting underway right now in Peabody at the Cahill Brodeur Conway Funeral Home. And what you saw there moments ago is the beginning of what they call the walk-by. The state police colonel will lead a ceremonial walk past Trainor's casket.
He'll be followed by the command staff, Trainor's recruiting class, and then other troopers and police from across the region.
And as you can see, troopers from across Massachusetts and law enforcement all across the state and the region all gathering now. You can see this line, Courtney, walking into this funeral home. Obviously a tremendously sad and solemn day for troopers who knew him closely, those who didn't know him at all, but certainly know the dangers of this job. And sadly that these things happen, and that, boy, it's a time for all of them to come together to grieve.
Absolutely. His brothers and sisters in blue, as well as Governor Maura Healey, we heard from last week, hailing him as a hero, his actions and how they saved a number of others. And even just seeing everyone gather here for him today, you know, Trainor's family saying that he took immense pride in protecting and serving the people of Massachusetts. And now they're all gathered here to honor Trooper Trainor.
I always find it amazing, the power of silence. If I stop talking here for just a second, you'll hear that you can hear a pin drop at this point, as there is the opportunity right now to do what they do best, and that is to work together and to, on this day, sadly, the mission is to say goodbye.
And now we want to take you live out to WBZ's Paul Burton. You were looking here from Sky Eye, but we want to take you to the ground there where Paul Burton joins us now. Paul.
I'm telling you, I'm witnessing this in front of my eyes. It's a sad situation, a somber and quiet feeling here on Lynn Street in Peabody in front of the Conway Cahill Brodeur Funeral Home, where more than
Well, we will get back out to WBZ's Paul Burton as soon as we can. But right now, if you were just tuning in here, what you're getting a look at is the ceremonial walk-by for Massachusetts State Police Trooper Kevin Trainor, who was killed by a wrong-way driver, David, just last week.
Yeah, to give you the background on what happened and why his colleagues are calling him a hero. It was last Wednesday. He got off his shift at 2 a.m. There was a call that there was a wrong-way driver on Route 1 in Linfield. And what did he do? He immediately jumped in his unmarked cruiser and jumped onto that highway. And sadly, at only 2:04, just 4 minutes after his shift ended, he was hit by this wrong-way driver. The driver of the other car was killed as well. And the state police colonel immediately saying that he was a hero because he risked his life, Courtney, getting on that highway, knowing that there could be a fatal end to it. But by stopping this car in the most tragic of ways, who knows how many lives he could have saved down the highway.
And this conversation here reminded us first just how precious life is. Trainor was only 30 years old. He had just joined the state police force in 2023 and was a corrections officer in Essex before that. But also just the fact that Trooper Trainor, it wasn't a second thought for him.
Yeah.
To take the actions he did at the end of his shift. Dangerous for us as civilians, everyday people looking on, but this is what our police do. This is what our state troopers do every day without a second thought. So just remembering what they're doing to protect us day in and day out.
No question. We saw just yesterday a trooper jumping out of a car on Memorial Drive to take down a suspect with a gun. They put their lives on the line every single day. Again, this is a live look from Sky Eye in Peabody over the Conway Cahill Brodeur Funeral Home. Trooper Trainor's funeral will be tomorrow. This is a wake that's going all across the afternoon, and you can see hundreds of other law enforcement lining up for this ceremony, which they call a walk by or a walk through, where there will be a constant line of troopers going through the funeral home, past his casket, for just a moment to be able to stop and honor this trooper who, as you mentioned, Courtney, just 30 years old. And you can see in the picture just the youth in his face. He had a fiance, Jessica, a mom, a sister, 3 brothers, and sadly all taken away within moments last Wednesday.
And now this is an opportunity for his brothers and sisters in blue to honor him, and just not even just through the walk by, but as they are going through their day-to-day, as they are going through their job, to honor the job that he took so seriously, that he took immense pride in, as his family says, and just to remember the mission every day when they are out protecting and serving, truly.
Not to say too much, but you have law enforcement in your family. You know what it's like to be a member of a family and to not know what your loved one is going to go through when they're out on the job. Sadly, that is sort of a daily occurrence for families across Massachusetts to get that terrible phone call, as the Trainor family did last week. But again, you can see that line continues to go through. As you mentioned, wasn't on the force all that long, but what I find interesting is that for the past couple of years, he was actually a trooper coach, which means he was mentoring other younger troopers. So you can imagine the types of relationships he made over the past couple of years, and you can bet the people that he was mentoring are there today to pay their respects.
Yeah, Trooper Trainor absolutely had a lasting impact, and that's why all of the officers that you're seeing here that are a part of the walk by, it's just a reminder too that those who are state police troopers, who are police, this is a brother and sisterhood for them. You do not have to know each other personally to honor and remember the work that they all do collectively together, but in this case, in the work that Trooper Trainor has done.
And not to put our control room on the spot, the next time we take a ground picture, if it's possible, and if not, that's okay too, I would love to just be able to listen in for a second. You saw the bagpiper there for just a moment. Okay, there's no audio there on the ground, and probably for privacy reasons, but there's just something about that feel, and we're going to try to get to Paul Burton in a second, and he was starting to describe. You have that American flag hanging over the street. There is just this silence that permeates the area, a powerful moment, and it's meant to be that way because there is power in the work that they do. There is power in the people that they serve, and I think we can stop now for a moment and listen in for just a second. Okay, and right now we would like to take you back to WBZ's Paul Burton, who is covering this ceremonial walk by here from the ground. Paul, can you tell us what you're seeing and hearing? How does it feel out there right now?
Well, Courtney and David, a somber and quiet feeling as you see the stars and stripes draped beautifully over Lynn Street here in Peabody in front of the Conway Cahill Broider Funeral Home. Other than the bagpipes beautifully playing in the background, you can hear a pin drop, not a person speaking. Everyone quiet, taking this all in. More than 1,000 law enforcement officers have been lining up here for the past 2 hours to pay their respects to fallen Massachusetts State Police Trooper Kevin Trainor. EMTs, firefighters, police officers, state police, emergency personnel from across the state and beyond are here right now. And they're, like you said, David and Courtney, they're taking place in a walkthrough right behind me here to pay tribute to Trooper Trainor and his family, who we can't even begin to imagine the grief and the hurt that they are experiencing right now, but also at the same time, what an incredible outpouring of love and support on display right now for both Trooper Trainor and his family. As you mentioned, Trainor died last week at the end of his shift trying to stop a wrong-way driver on Route 1 in Linfield. Trainor, who actually lived in Georgetown, was only 30 years old. He grew up in Salem, not too far down the road from here, and joined the state police in 2023 after serving as a corrections officer in Essex County. His family says Trainor was just meant to be a police officer, a state trooper with a deep sense of loyalty, integrity, and compassion for others. Just being out here and talking with people. Earlier today, I spoke with a mother, actually a grandmother, whose son is actually a state trooper. She came here this afternoon with her 3 grandchildren because she wanted them to witness this firsthand and to see how important it is to support the community, to support state police officers who really give all that they have. They lay it on the line. They put their lives on the line, and that's exactly what Police Trooper Kevin Trainor did. Now, this wake is supposed to take place about an hour from now at 4 p.m. The visiting hours are from 4 to 7 p.m. As we can imagine, it's probably going to go longer than that just by the amount of people that are out here. David and Courtney, nothing but a sea of blue and just a lot of love and support. As you mentioned, he leaves behind his fiance, his mother, a sister, and 3 brothers. So everyone is sort of quiet here. A ton of people behind me from the community just taking this all in.
Thank you, Paul Burton, there on the scene. And Courtney, as you watch this, you can't help but notice how the troopers are synchronized in the way they walk, coordinated, marching in lockstep, same leg at the same time, just all by design, because this is a moment where they want to be as one. They want to be sort of that uniform march. It's their way of saying that we are together in this moment of grief. Absolutely.
The discipline, the uniformity, the lockstep is all about showing the utmost respect to their brother in blue, Trooper Kevin Trainor, in such a difficult time. And just this united front of all of them coming together. We heard Paul say that there are emergency personnel attending across the state. So this is just a reminder that a lot of the emergency personnel, the troopers, the police that are in attendance today, they didn't have to know Trooper Kevin Trainor personally to respect what he's done in his time as a state trooper, how the actions he took saved lives. They didn't have to know him personally to want to honor and now even celebrate his life and legacy today.
And there's something both beautiful and sort of haunting about the sounds of the bagpipes. Beautiful in the tribute that it pays, haunting in knowing why it's happening. That one single bagpiper there as we continue to watch this walk by or walk through. All of it happening underneath these stars and stripes there on Lynn Street in Peabody. Left-hand side of your screen there, you see the picture of Trooper Trainor. Such a sort of youthful look, only 30 years old, really just beginning what would be a beautiful life with his fiance and his family. And just heartbreaking to know how it ended, but also sort of uplifting for his family, I'm sure, to know that their loved one said, hey, I'm willing to risk it to get out there on that highway and see what I can do to possibly get this person to pull over, or in the worst possible circumstance, put his life on the line to save others.
And in a time of grief where family, his fiance can feel alone and have lots of questions about why this happened, how this could happen. And as you mentioned earlier, there is always a little bit of dread you carry around with you when a loved one is a part of law enforcement. But to see all of these people here for Kevin Trainor is such a beautiful reminder to his fiance, to his family, to his mother, that they are not alone.
There's no question. It probably does not sort of take the edge off this terrible grief, but it does allow them to know that they're not alone, that there are a lot of people there to support them. We did a story a couple of days ago about an organization that comes forward to support the families, and how helpful that has been to families who've gone through the same grief. But you're right, for the family to be there, I'm sure, next to the casket and continually see people come by has to warm their heart.
And I do think that this walkthrough, he was also honored at his ceremony for law enforcement, previously law enforcement that has passed. I can tell you, as someone whose father is a retired police officer, I have participated in these type of ceremonies that honor the fallen. And when you are there, it is a feeling of, one, reminding you that we are all connected, but also being a part of something larger than yourself, which is why I think that these troopers and these police make sure they make it a point to be here on a day like today for Trooper Kevin Trainor.
Yeah, they're showing up for their brother on this really, really tough day. And boy, just to listen for a second really makes you feel the power of what they're doing and feel the power of the life that he led for 30 years. It feels like the line goes on forever, and it's going to be this way throughout the afternoon. I also thought what was really powerful was outside of the Danvers State Police Barracks over the past week, the cruiser, a cruiser was there that had turned into a memorial of sorts. And what I thought was so powerful was that there were people from the public who had never met him. Obviously, the troopers share that same job, they share that same bond. But what we saw over the past week were people coming, out of their homes, getting in their own cars, driving over to the barracks so that they could lay either a note or flowers for the trooper and their family. And that always strikes me, the people who will be happy to give out some time in their lives to make sure that somebody else's family who's going through something feels loved and feels supported. I thought that was super powerful. A moment ago, we saw some of the folks who were not in full trooper uniforms. I believe those are some of the recruits, because part of the ceremony is that you have the troopers go through, led by the colonel, and then some of the recruits. We may see them again, I think, in those gray shirts.
And I do think that giving the public and the community the opportunity to come and honor Trooper Trainor with that cruiser right outside of barracks that ultimately turned into a memorial is just a reminder that, again, you don't have to know Trooper Kevin Trainor personally to be grateful for his service. Every day, Trooper Kevin Trainor was coming to serve the community. He didn't necessarily know everyone he was serving, but he was serving a greater community at large. So to see the community come back and kind of return that same sentiment, for his family to be able to see it, for his fiance to be able to see it, truly special.
Yeah. It is tragic and beautiful all at the same time outside of this funeral home in Peabody. We will continue to watch what's happening here. We will also have the very latest coming up on the WBZ News at 5 o'clock over on Channel 4. And just a reminder that his funeral tomorrow, we will have that live on CBS News Boston. It begins at 11 a.m.